that's the best way to keep in mind. Yeah, indeed, it's a long talk, it's a long title, sorry, and I hope it will be interesting enough, given that we've just had lunch and now your body is kind of relaxing. So I hope I'll bring you very nicely into this new session of talks. The title is long, but I hope you will remain with one thing, which is us for Geo. So what I'm going to talk a bit, I'm going to talk about the history of this initiative, because even if the project has only 6 months, it's a new project, the initiative is much longer. Why do we bother to do it? For whom we want to accomplish it, and who exactly is us that we are doing it. So, as I mentioned, this initiative is a bit longer. It started in 2016 when the company that I work for in Bucharest, which is Codrina, it's an SME, is part of the European Association of Earth Observation Companies. And they had this concept paper published in 2016 saying that, okay, open source seems to be some kind of an interesting resource, and the paper would be published towards their members, towards the members of their community, saying that, do you consider open source to be important? Should we, as a European association, do something about it? And at that time, my boss, who knew that I am really involved in the open source community and that I volunteer my time and I use open source and so on, asked, so Codrina, do you think we should do something about it? And I said, of course. And fast forward, Codrina led the open source initiative working group. It was formed by the companies, people from the companies, from that you can see their logos there, trying to shape this open source idea to the board of the association. So moving a little bit fast forward, the idea is that at that point I was naive enough to imagine that if I work with open source and I'm part of this community, that it will not be that difficult for me to explain to people in suits in European and remote sensing companies what it is. But as I mentioned, I was pretty naive because it turned out to be much more complicated than I thought. And the only thing that it was helpful for me at that point was that it was not the first attempt. The first attempt was done by one of the important people in our community, by Ramsey, who in 2005 and then 2006 had this State of Open Source GIS report. And this was the initial separation, let's say, between the geospatial open source projects. So we tried somehow to document how this entire ecosystem looks like in our attempt to present it to people that are completely outside of this world, not even programmers, but people that take decisions. Business people, let's say. So at that point we decided on a few important information that we considered at that point to present. One was related to what is the type of solution that we are documenting, and we decided in the end on the 5 categories: web tool, server side, core libraries, mobile, desktop, the main programming language, let's say, 3 programming languages. What is the type of the organization that is actually leading the project, the open source? Is it an individual? Is it a university, a company? How is it governed? And of course the license. At that time, we did it quite traditionally, let's say, and we just started this Google sheet with the idea that we wanted to make it collaborative and we wanted to make it easy for people to document this information. We had this Google spreadsheet, and then we just started to fill in this information. And it was quite an interesting experience because, as I mentioned, working with open source, I had the impression that I kind of know a little bit, but the experience was unbelievable because in that time, in 2016, I think we ended up documenting in about, I don't know, a year and a half, something like that, about 200 or more applications. Wow. And we also tried, another important thing for us, what we tried to show was that it's actually an ecosystem and they're not different sparse things, they're related. Core libraries are used by many other applications. And of course, doing that, we went in front of the Earth board to present our conclusions, to present this graph, and I've written the conclusions there. Of course, the open source ecosystem for geospatial is a mature ecosystem. We have operational solutions for each step of a processing chain, from storage to processing to visualization and so on and so forth. We mentioned, of course, the importance of the licensing, the importance of community, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, at that time, due to various reasons, let's say, it was not really, we did not manage to convince them of the importance of supporting this kind of work. But we didn't want to stop, it was way too good, and we understood the importance of having an overview of what this ecosystem is. So what we did was continue to document this in a voluntary basis, let's say, and trying to speak as much about it as I could at every event that would accept our talk. So, except for that, we also tried to get some funding in order to develop even further this initiative, because it's not only important, let's say, if the licenses are compatible. We're interested in standards compliance. We're interested in so much more information related to the health of an open source project. And in order to do that in a sustainable way, in a well-thought way from the beginning and not with a Google spreadsheet, then you would need a bit more support. So, for example, in 2018, there was a call for proposals that came from Ford Foundation. It was for digital infrastructure resources, and we said that, okay, open source for geospatial is a very important digital infrastructure. It's critical for the world in which we live in. Unfortunately, we didn't win the project, but happily, some years forward, we have managed to get funding from ESA. ESA having in this last period a more structured, open source, open science initiative, let's say. So this is how we came about to the project, to the long title of Open Source for Geospatial Software Resources Platform for Geospatial Data. It's a project that started 6 months ago, and it will end in January 2024. Okay, this is, I've already said, going further. So what we want to do, and what we've started to do, is actually in two sides. Firstly, I want to mention that the development side of for this project is not the essential part. The essential part is actually building a community that will hopefully become part and will document their own software. So this is a schema trying to explain as best as we could at that point what exactly we are considering to do in this project. And the idea is that we will keep the same 5 categories. We have defined what kind of information we want to document for each of these projects, and the idea is that the actual value of it, the added value, is the data itself, is the documentation itself, because we want to make it, of course, possible for users to be able to query this information and to get a response based on what is inside this ecosystem. So what we need at this point is part of the community that is involved within maintaining different projects, different open source projects, to actually make the effort at some point to document it. It will be one-time effort when you have to introduce information related to the governance model, the software license. Very, very important for us, cross-project dependencies. Another important thing is related to the standards that the software is compliant to. Another thing that is important are the functionalities. What can that specific project do? And starting in 2016, and even now for the, let's say, demo part, we've been trying to document this information, but it's not that easy from the outside, especially if you're not familiar with the project itself. And all of these things that you see on the left are actually answering the 2005 questions that Paul Renzi had in his state of open source related to the viability of a phosphor-G project. So, as I mentioned, the first part we've tried to very well document what we want to know related to a project that can answer to those 6 categories related to organization, to the licensing, interdependency, standard compliance. What we use, as I mentioned, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. What we use is open source, and everything that will be developed for this project is of course going to be open source. We want to make, and we will make the data available through, of course, an API and linked data. But in the end, why do we do that? Gets me to the question, for whom are we doing it? Well, we're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for the community because it's important to be able to identify in this amazing open source ecosystem a solution that can answer to your question. And it doesn't have to be off the shelf. It can be something that you can further on continue developing. Another important aspect, at least from our point of view, is that and all the documents of all the deliverables for the ESA are going to be made publicly available. This information, that document, can be seen as a blueprint for someone that wants to start and that starts, let's say, a university and open source project, because it makes the person think about what is important. If you want to build a community around that project, you need to have some kind of governance model, because people are not going to offer their time without knowing what they're contributing to them, without knowing whether their contribution is going to remain open source, and so on and so forth. So, related to how this could be useful for the community, we just imagine some kind of a question that not necessarily a programmer or a coder can have, but a small company that needs to, that wants to develop a specific product or data service, and they are in search for some solutions that can specifically answer some issues that they have. And it can be related to the license that they need to use, if they can reuse it, if they need to develop something on top, if they have to make it open source or not, and so on. Related to the standards that it's compliant, how is the solution compliant? Is it native? Is it by an extension? And so on. How is it governed? Who takes decisions towards where that project is going to go? If I have a small company and I invest my time and resources in using a specific solution, then I want to know that in 5 years it's not going to change, it's not going to disappear, it's not going to change course, let's say. What kind of communication channels, and what we would like to do, although we very understand is not at all easy, is to somehow try to have an image on how healthy that project is. And I'm sure that most of you know what a bus number in open source is, but I'm just going to mention the bus number is related to how many people that are core people in a specific project need to disappear or leave the project and to terminate what has been done. So the most important people. And obviously, if that bus number is lower, then you are in a bit of danger. And this is one of our hopes, to be able, through the documentation of this of these projects to also have a greater understanding of the viability of that project. So here I'm basically saying everything that I've mentioned until now. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. And another thing that this could be very useful. Imagine that, and I'm also going to show it, that it gives you the possibility, if you are a student or if you are developing a project for your master thesis or your PhD thesis, that you can document what you've done, you can include it in this ecosystem, and then it's much more easier for someone that is looking for what you have built, for the functionality that you did, to find it. And it also helps smaller projects that are at the beginning to be put on this map of open source solutions. So that I think it is also a very good thing. Why did we imagine that we can do this? Well, as I mentioned, the biggest added value that we see from this project is not the infrastructure or the coding behind. What is really important is the documentation and the data that is collected. And it was absolutely clear for us that this cannot be done by a small number of people, because not necessarily resources-wise, but also because the person or the people that know exactly what's in a project, from dependency to standard compliance to so on, only the core maintainers and the maintainers of the project actually know. So that is the important part, and we believe that given our involvement in the international open source community, we can somehow convince people to want to document their projects. That's on one side. On the other side, in the beginning of the project, with significant support from ESA, we have been constantly trying to raise awareness about this, and also, for example, for the documentation part, what we want to collect about these solutions. For that specific document, we have interacted with OGC, with the European Commission, with ESA, and with NASA as well, through different working meetings, in order to get the best possible document at this point related to what we want to achieve. So we are trying to take it bottom up and from top to bottom as well. And it's a good time to do that. It's a very good time to do that, because both ESA and NASA, and not only and the European Commission, are more eager related to the idea of open science. And open source is a very important building block for open science. So you probably are aware of the initiative that comes from NASA, which is called Transform to Open Science. TOPS, also the initiatives that comes from ESA. This is also why we received funding for our project. So we consider that it's a very good time for this initiative that we had in 2016. So thank you.